Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling smaller, like your light dimmed just a little? You start questioning yourself. Was it me? Or was something off? That's the silent signature of a narcissist. They don't steal your money, Vemo, they steal your clarity. And if you learn to spot them early, you reclaim your power before they rewrite your story. Narcissists don't steal your money. They steal your clarity, and that's what makes them so dangerous. When someone takes your money, you know it's gone. You can point to it, name it, grieve it, even rebuild it. But when someone steals your clarity, you don't even know you've lost something. You just wake up one day confused, unsure of what's real, unsure of who to trust, unsure of yourself. Clarity is the foundation of self-trust. It's the invisible compass that helps you know what feels right and what doesn't. And narcissists know that if they can disrupt that compass, they can control the direction of your life. They don't need to yell, lie outright, or even dominate in obvious ways. All they need to do is make you doubt what you already know. It starts small. You recall something they said when Shoal, and they say, "I never said that." You express a feeling, though when they respond, "You're too sensitive." You share a boundary and they laugh, "You're overreacting." It's subtle, quiet erosion. And over time, you start adjusting your reality to fit theirs. You stop correcting them, stop speaking up, stop trusting your memory. Before you know it, you're apologizing for things you didn't do, explaining feelings that should have simply been honored, and seeking validation from the very person who's distorting your sense of self. That's the theft. That's the robbery of clarity. And here's what's even more heartbreaking. It's not loud or chaotic at first. It's wrapped in charm, connection, and what feels like understanding. They seem to get you like no one else. They study your emotions, your wounds, your hopes, and then they use them as a map. Not to meet you, but to manage you. You think you're being seen. In truth, you're being scanned. When your clarity begins to fade, you start mistaking intensity for intimacy. You think the emotional highs and lows are proof of love, proof of depth, but they're not. They're proof of manipulation. Narcissists create confusion because confusion makes you seek answers, and the moment you start seeking, they position themselves as the only source of truth. But here's the good news. Clarity can be reclaimed. It doesn't happen through confrontation or revenge. It happens through stillness, through pausing when you feel that inner fog rolling in, through listening to the voice inside you that whispers, something isn't right. Because your intuition never left you. It was just drowned out by their noise. The antidote to narcissistic manipulation isn't more explanation, it's grounded self-trust. It's realizing that if something feels off, that feeling is reason enough to pause. You don't owe anyone a logical justification for your discomfort. So the next time someone makes you question your memory, your tone, or your worth, take a breath. Step back, don't argue, don't defend, just notice. Because the moment you see the manipulation clearly, it loses its power. Clarity is your protection, and once you take it back, no one, not even the most skilled narcissist, can steal it again. What feels like deep connection might just be perfect imitation. That's the most disorienting part about encountering a narcissist. They often don't come across as selfish at first. In fact, they seem like the most understanding, emotionally tuned, and attentive person you've ever met. They mirror your values, your expressions, your dreams. They listen, nod, echo your words back with empathy that feels almost spiritual. You start thinking, finally, someone gets me. But what's really happening isn't connection, it's calculation. A narcissist studies you with precision. They listen, not to understand, but to gather data. They watch your facial reactions, take note of what lights you up, and track the words that open your heart. Every "me too," every "I completely understand" is designed to build trust. They become who you need them to be. A soulmate, a mentor, a best friend. Anything that earns your emotional investment. And because they're mirroring you, the connection feels magnetic. You feel safe, seen, known. But what you're actually experiencing is the reflection of your own light, not theirs. This imitation phase is often called love bombing, but it's deeper than that. It's identity mimicry. The narcissist learns your language, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, and speaks it fluently. If you value vulnerability, they'll open up about a painful past. If you admire ambition, they'll tell you about big dreams they never intend to chase. If you seek peace, they'll present themselves as grounded and wise. But none of it is real. It's theater, a well-rehearsed performance meant to convince you that you've found a rare and genuine bond. The moment you start trusting this version of them, they begin to shift. You'll notice subtle changes. The warmth fades, the listening turns into talking, the empathy becomes indifference. It's as if the person you first misunderstood, it disappears. Because in truth, they were never there. You were connecting with a mirror, not a person. And that realization can be shattering. You might question everything, but then, was any of it real? Did I imagine it? That's exactly how the narcissist wants you to feel, lost between truth and illusion. But here's the empowering truth. Your sense of connection was real. Your empathy, your openness, your ability to see beauty in another human being, that was genuine. What wasn't real was the reflection you were shown. Narcissists imitate connection because they crave admiration but fear intimacy. They want your attention, not your authenticity. True intimacy requires vulnerability, and that's something they can't sustain without power being at risk. The way to protect yourself is by slowing down the pace of emotional bonding. Authentic people don't rush connection. They don't echo your every word or idealize you instantly. They reveal themselves gradually, imperfectly, humanly. So when someone seems too aligned, too attentive, too perfect, take a breath. Real connection doesn't mirror you, it meets you. And when it's real, it doesn't fade when you stop feeding it. It grows stronger when you're simply being yourself. Every compliment hides a hook. It sounds harmless at first and even flattering. A narcissist might say, "You're so smart, you're not like other people," or "I've never met anyone who understands me the way you do." These words sparkle like attention and feel like validation. They make you feel chosen, special, seen. But the truth is, these compliments are not gifts, they're tools. Each one is designed with a hidden purpose, to anchor you emotionally, so you'll crave more of their approval. In the early stages, the narcissist studies what kind of praise lands deepest. Maybe you respond to being admired for your empathy, your intelligence, your strength, or your creativity. They find the exact words that make your heart open, and they repeat them until you begin associating them with your sense of worth. They create an invisible dependency. You start wanting to stay in their good graces because they make you feel elevated, validated, even loved. But this is where the hook tightens. Once they sense that you value their opinion, they begin to ration that praise. Suddenly, the same person who couldn't stop complimenting you grows quiet, distant, or subtly critical. You find yourself wondering what you did wrong, why the warmth faded, and that confusion drives you to work harder to win back their approval. You replay conversations, you compromise, you adjust your tone, all in the hope of earning back the compliments that once flowed so freely. Without realizing it, you've stepped into the narcissist's cycle of control, reward and withdrawal, validation and rejection. They've conditioned you to measure your self-worth by their feedback. What makes this manipulation so insidious is that it feels like love. Narcissists use flattery as a mirror, reflecting back your idealized self. It's intoxicating to be admired, and they know that. They use that feeling to bond you to them. But true love doesn't depend on performance. It doesn't disappear when you disagree, grow stronger, or start setting boundaries. A narcissist's love is conditional. It thrives only as long as you're meeting their needs or reflecting their image. You can tell the difference between genuine compliments and manipulative ones by the energy they leave behind. Real compliments empower you. They make you feel good about yourself, independent of the person giving them. Manipulative compliments create anxiety. They make you want to please the giver more. If praise makes you feel indebted instead of inspired, it's not love, it's leverage. To break free from the hook, you must reclaim your own source of validation. Remember that you are the origin of your worth, not its reflection. Narcissists thrive when you forget that. When you can look in the mirror and affirm your value without needing their approval, their hooks lose their grip. Compliments can be beautiful expressions of connection, but when they come with hidden strings, they're just another form of control. Real love doesn't need bait. It simply recognizes your worth and lets you feel free inside it. Belittling often comes dressed as concern. That's what makes it so deceptive. When a narcissist undermines you, it rarely sounds like an insult. Instead, it's wrapped in sweetness, coated in "I'm just being honest," or disguised as "I'm only trying to help." They don't attack you outright. They chip away at you piece by piece, disguised as care, humor, or advice. It's not the sharpness of their words that hurts most. It's the confusion they create. You start wondering if they're being cruel or if you're just too sensitive. That doubt is exactly what they want. The narcissist's belittling often starts small. They might tease you about something you're proud of, your passion, your dreams, your sensitivity. You're so emotional sometimes, they'll say with a smile as if it's a joke. Or, you're really ambitious, maybe too ambitious. It's never enough to trigger a confrontation, but just enough to make you second guess yourself. Over time, those comments accumulate, and you begin shrinking a little each day, trying to become less of whatever they subtly disapproved of. That's how narcissistic control works, not through dominance, but through erosion. They don't have to break you, they just have to make you question yourself. They train you to seek their approval, not because you crave their love, but because you've come to fear their disapproval. What used to make you feel confident now feels risky. You start editing yourself, dimming your light, softening your edges just to keep the peace. And here's the twisted brilliance of it. They often disguise this belittling as guidance. I'm only telling you this because I care, they'll say, right after cutting into your confidence. Or, you need to learn to take feedback, after making a comment that's meant to wound, not help. It's psychological sleight of hand. They position themselves as the wiser, calmer, more logical one while painting you as reactive or immature. Eventually, you start to believe it. You start apologizing for your feelings, accepting blame for dynamics you didn't create. But what's actually happening is emotional conditioning. Each time they undermine you, your nervous system learns to anticipate it. You start to self-censor before they even speak. That's the moment they win. When they no longer have to belittle you out loud because you've begun doing it to yourself. The path back is awareness. You have to relearn how to trust your emotional reactions. If something hurts, it's supposed to hurt. If you feel small after someone jokes with you, it's not your sensitivity. It's their intention. Healthy people uplift you even when they disagree. Narcissists disguise control as concern. So when you hear that subtle jab wrapped in politeness, pause, don't explain, don't justify. Just notice the feeling in your gut, that tightening, that discomfort. That's your truth knocking, because real care never confuses you. Real love never requires you to shrink, and genuine concern never makes you feel less than who you are. A narcissist's favorite weapon is your empathy. It's not your weakness they exploit, it's your strength. They are drawn to compassionate, understanding, emotionally intelligent people because empathy is both your light and their opportunity. You see the good in everyone. You give the benefit of the doubt. You believe that love and patience can heal. And while those qualities are beautiful in the presence of a narcissist, they become entry points, doors they can walk through to access your heart, your time, and your peace. A narcissist learns very quickly that you're the type who cares deeply. You'll listen when they talk about their struggles, defend them when others question their behavior, and forgive them when they cross lines. They recognize that you lead with compassion, not confrontation, and that's where they find their control. The more empathy you offer, the more space they take. The more understanding you give, the more they push boundaries. They rely on your reluctance to hurt others because that hesitation keeps you trapped in cycles of forgiveness. They'll tell stories that trigger your sympathy, tales of betrayal, abandonment, or past wounds. You'll feel called to help them heal. But what they're really doing is creating emotional leverage. The more you invest in their pain, the harder it becomes to walk away, even when they start causing you pain. You start justifying their behavior. They've been through so much, they didn't mean it, they're just struggling. What you don't realize is that your empathy has been turned against you. This dynamic becomes a silent transaction. They provide just enough vulnerability to keep your compassion engaged, but not enough accountability to ever change. You become the healer, the caretaker, the steady one, roles they encourage because they keep you focused on their needs instead of your own. Narcissist. So know that as long as you're trying to understand them, you won't recognize the imbalance. But empathy without boundaries turns into self-abandonment. You start absorbing their pain, carrying their emotions, and excusing their harm. You give and give, believing that love means sacrifice. But healthy love has limits. It honors both people equally. A narcissist, however, interprets empathy as permission. Every time you forgive without consequence, they learn that they can cross another line. Reclaiming your empathy doesn't mean becoming cold or unkind. It means learning discernment, knowing who deserves your compassion and who only exploits it. True empathy must include you. When you can extend the same understanding and care to yourself that you so easily give to others, narcissists lose their grip. They can't manipulate a person who knows how to say, I see your pain, but I will not let it destroy my peace. Your empathy is powerful. It's what makes you human, loving, and real. But it's not a currency for others to spend. It's a sacred energy that must be shared with those who respect it. Protect it fiercely, because the moment you guard your empathy with boundaries, the narcissist's favorite weapon becomes useless. When you feel drained after talking to someone, listen to your body. It already knows. The body speaks before the mind catches up. Long before you can name manipulation or gaslighting, your nervous system senses it. You feel the tension in your chest, the knot in your stomach, the fatigue that arrives after what seemed like a simple conversation. That heaviness isn't random, it's information. It's your intuition whispering, something here is not safe. Narcissists are masters at confusing your mind, but they can't deceive your body. While their words sound convincing, your energy tells the truth. You start noticing patterns. You enter a conversation feeling fine and leave feeling small, anxious, or uncertain. You replay their words over and over, trying to figure out what went wrong. That confusion is their goal. It keeps you distracted from the emotional extraction happening beneath the surface. Every interaction with a narcissist is a transaction. They take energy, validation, or attention, and in return, they leave you empty. It's not always through conflict. Sometimes it's through chaos or charm. Even their silence can drain you because it keeps you guessing, waiting, wondering what you did wrong. That emotional labor is exhausting. It's the invisible cost of staying connected to someone who feeds on control. Your body knows this imbalance even when your mind tries to rationalize it. You might tell yourself, they're just stressed, or maybe I'm overreacting. But your body doesn't lie. The exhaustion, the tightness, the feeling of walking on eggshells, these are physical symptoms of emotional depletion. They are your inner alarm system trying to guide you back to safety. When you ignore these signs, you start losing connection with yourself. You dismiss your instincts and overanalyze their behavior instead of trusting your own experience. This self-abandonment is how narcissists maintain control. They teach you to prioritize their emotions over your own sensations. The more you focus on managing them, the less you notice how unwell you feel. But healing begins when you reverse that focus, when you stop explaining their behavior and start honoring your body's signals. If you leave a conversation feeling confused, tired, or guilty without a clear reason, pause. Don't rush to fix it. Don't apologize. Just breathe and notice. The body always speaks in truth, even when the mind wants to deny it. Reconnection starts with small acts of awareness, stepping away from draining interactions, taking quiet time alone, doing something grounding, a walk, deep breathing, journaling. As you practice listening, you'll begin to distinguish between people who energize you and people who deplete you. Healthy connections feel calm, mutual, and nourishing. Toxic ones leave you restless and unsure. Your body is not betraying you, it's protecting you. It remembers what your heart tries to forget. So the next time you feel that subtle exhaustion creeping in, honor it. You don't need more proof or permission to walk away. Your fatigue is enough evidence. It's your truth saying, this connection is costing too much, and when you start listening to that truth, you take your power back one deep breath at a time.